Now, the sentencing has come out for Karmelo Anthony. He has been sentenced to 35 years, so he's going to have to spend at least half of that in prison. But let's get over into it and see.
Let me interrupt you. The verdict is in. It is 35 years is the sentence, not under passion. 35-year sentence for Karmelo Anthony, eligible for parole after serving half of that time. So,
wow.
There is the sentence.
What's your reaction?
There's the sentence. Wow. You know.
Now, remember, that is what we kind of expected. That's the usual range for these similar type cases, what we saw in the last video. But let's keep going into this.
Again, I'm coming from a unique perspective. I was a prosecutor. I have prosecuted people that have killed people, that have harmed children, that have harmed babies. I have defended people that have killed multiple people. I have a death penalty case that I'm a part of right now, and I will tell you. In my 17 years, I think these set of facts, a jury coming to the conclusion that 35 years in prison is an appropriate sentence, is quite incredible. It's quite incredible. I'm slightly blown away. I will tell you that it's important that we always remember here in Texas that you have a range of punishment. The range of punishment for a murder conviction is anywhere from 5 years to 99 years or life. And regardless of the sentence that you receive, in the state of Texas, you are required to serve half of your sentence or 30 years, whichever is less. Mm-hmm. So in this particular instance, he's sentenced to 35 years. Before he becomes eligible for parole, he will have to serve half of that sentence. What is that, 16 and a half years, 17 and a half years?
Roughly 17 and a half.
Before.
Yeah.
So now, how do y'all feel about that? Now, even if you didn't think that he was aiming to commit murder, and if he think manslaughter, because manslaughter was on the table, it's 17 and a half years, because that's his possibility he could get out on parole. Would that be enough to say that that is justice? Let me know. Let's keep going.
And that may very well have been the age of Austin Metcalf when this happened in 2025.
I think that
17.
I think you're right about that, Sean.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. I'm actually surprised differently. I again felt like it was going to be longer. I just did, based on, I know Bill Worski was asking.
What he called for.
Yeah. He didn't give them a number. He didn't assign a number in his closing statements in the punishment phase, but he impressed on them that it should be lengthy, that it should be long, that we have to send a message of we're not going to tolerate senseless violence in our community. He talked to those jurors about them coming together as a community to do the right thing, to serve justice. He put on those jurors the idea that they were upholding the standard for the community. And so I thought it might be longer.
Now here's a question, because a lot of the Karmelo Anthony supporters are saying that it wasn't any black members on the jury. Now there was other colored people. There was other colored people. There weren't just white people, but it wasn't any black people. So do you think that they feel like that the sentence is too harsh, or is that the reason that they feel black people should have been on the jury in the first place to maybe help bring that down some? What are your thoughts? Let's keep going into this.
I hope we get to hear from the jury foreman or one of the jurors at some point to know what they were thinking and what they went through in that moment. So I guess the word is now spreading to those outside of the courthouse.
It does look like people are looking somber. They're looking very.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next video where we actually get a little bit more image of people outside of the courthouse.
You're outside.
Yeah, live continuing coverage. Our J.D. Miles, Andre Lucia, and our team, Aaron Jones, Marvin Hurst, outside the Collin County Courthouse and also inside. And the sentence just read by the court, 35 years in prison is the sentence for Karmelo Anthony. and the jury rejected the opportunity to consider what was called sudden passion, an opportunity that would have given them a sentencing range anywhere from 2 to 20 years. But again, 35 years now in prison, and as J.D. Miles just reported, 17 and a half will be the mandatory minimum of that 35 before he can be considered for parole. J.D., stand by. Andrea.
Now, I originally thought that they might give him that higher end of that 2 to 20, so 20 years, but it came up with 35.
Lucia, what are you hearing among the crowd outside as that 35-year prison sentence was just handed down?
Yeah, you know what, I'm going to step aside because people are just hearing this right now. I just saw a woman run down the street right here, letting everybody know 35 years, and we're seeing reactions of shock on people's faces. You can see people down there with their phones out. Again, that is where a lot of the reaction is playing out. There appears to be shock among people here. A lot of the supporters of Karmelo Anthony have stuck around. We're waiting to show their support as the sentencing continued. And this is, of course, not what they wanted to hear. They wanted him to be acquitted. They wanted him to get a lesser sentence. You know, even though we're certainly closer to 5 than 99 years, 35 years for a 19-year-old, more than his lifetime.
Now, let's get over into the AI breakdown just so we can find out a little bit more information about this and wrap it all up. So he was sentenced, Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison today after being found guilty of first-degree murder of the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. A 12-person jury in Collin County deliberated for less than 3 hours before returning the guilty verdict. Under Texas law, he will be required to serve at least half of that sentence, so 17 and a half years, before becoming eligible for parole. We all know about the incident. Prosecution characterized the stabbing as an unjust sneak attack. The defense attempted to argue as sudden passion claimed during the punishment phase. If accepted, it would have lowered this to the maximum being 20 years. The jury ultimately rejected that and came back with that 35 years, which is, I mean, in considering that it could have been 99 years, I mean, they got to be happy with what they get. Because Anthony was 17 years old at the time of the crime, the death penalty and the life without parole were legally off the table following the Supreme Court proceedings. He was tried as an adult under Texas state guidelines. Absolutely crazy. 35 years. Now, the main thing, what do you think is, do you agree with that sentence is the main thing? And do you think there will be more protests? Because they are upset. But ultimately, like I said before, at the end of the day, he should have used his hands. We no matter whatever you want to say, no matter, of course, Austin should not have touched him, but that touch should not have warranted a stab to the heart. If anything, if he wanted to, I'm against violence, but if he swung at him, nothing would have. It would have been just a big brawl. People would have walked away alive. But now he ended up taking out a knife and stabbing him. What are your thoughts? Do you think that 35 years is appropriate, or are you thinking that's too high or too low? I think that's enough for him to understand. But do you think he should have spent the rest of his life in jail? Well, this case is over, but we'll keep track of if anything else comes out of it. But let me know your thoughts. Remember, y'all, if you like this type of content, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. But that's it for now, y'all. Peace.